So I was warming up for Kings of the Sea today. Today is Sunday, by the way. If you watched our games, thank you very much for showing some support and watching some of the North American streamers. But yeah, I was warming up, trying to make sure my aim was decent before we actually played some of the matches. So I decided to play Vermont, and I'm trying to shoot at longer ranges. I'm trying to take targets of opportunity, make sure I am aiming correctly for broadside shots, all that stuff. Shooting DDs, everything, right? And this is the game I have right before we start. We started. And yeah, it's quite amazing. I actually had a game a couple days ago as well in Slava where I get double digits worth of Citadels. So can look forward to that video probably coming out tomorrow. A bit of a back-to-back double-digit Citadel games in Tier 10 battleships. Pretty incredible stuff. But yeah, I'll save the Slava one for tomorrow. Let's talk about Vermont. Vermont is an incredible ship for that one-time alpha strike. The ultimate in long-range firepower that's very accurate, right? Of course, Colombo has the heaviest broadside in the game right now. It's no longer Vermont. It used to be. But Colombo doesn't have range and it doesn't have accuracy, whereas Vermont has both of those things. Vermont also gets some overmatch on cruisers, but when somebody's showing me broadside, this is the ship I would trust the most against any broadside in the game, really. It just hits so hard. It hits like a semi-truck. It is crazy how hard this thing hits people. Of course, you got to deal with the long reload, the bad hull, the poor speed. You get good AA, so that helps you in random battles, right? I'm not going to be the first target, that kind of thing. And that's where playing a Vermont in a game like this can actually be a ton of fun. You notice the entire fight is happening on C, so I've decided to push A really aggressively. Well, as aggressively and quickly as a Vermont can go. We don't stop, but we're still pretty far behind where our Georgia is at. Pretty poor vertical dispersion there, but we still, deal half the HP of the mines. This ship can push. And yes, it's weak to torpedoes, it's weak to HE spam, but if the thing that's likely going to be stopping you from pushing is an aircraft carrier, you can push. This is the one of the battleships that can actually push into an aircraft carrier and be okay. This AA is just incredible. And with defensive fire, it shreds even FDR planes. I do have a video, I think my last Vermont video, I was facing an FDR. So if you want to see what this AA does to FDR planes, you can definitely go take a look at that. But overmatch, yeah, we don't care about the mine's armor at all. And since he's bow on, he takes full pens, right? If he was broadside, he might have taken a Citadel, but it also probably would have overpenned, right? Considering that's what German cruisers do best at mid to close range. They just overpen. And yeah, guy's a little surprised about it. Might be his first game in Tier 8 or something like that. Tier 10 is not a very friendly place for light Tier 8 cruisers when they angle in, right? When they give broadside, like if you're in a Cleveland, you give broadside all day, you're probably going to just take some overpens, but you angle in, you're probably going to take some big damage because these guns hurt a lot. Already up to 100,000 damage in the first 5 minutes of the game. Pretty solid start, I would say. And now we're pushing A, right? Our Georgia's way behind us. Just watch how quickly he catches up to us, by the way. This ship is very slow. But that's okay. If you position it well and is smart and you know when you can push, when you can't, this ship can definitely make things work. And unfortunately, this Massachusetts decides to run away, so we don't actually end up getting a crazy nice broadside on him. But that would have been nice if we'd popped around this corner and just blasted him. I really do enjoy that close range fighting with this ship because the guns just hit that hard, right? If you don't know the alpha damage, it's 15,750 damage per shell hit. And we have 12 of them, and it's very accurate. So playing Vermont like this, you have to know what you're doing, right? We know both destroyers are dead. Earlier on, I noticed that they both went B and then C, so that's why I played so aggressively. I'm making a note of where the enemy DDs are, where the enemy cruisers are that are likely to be difficult to deal with, HE spammers, that kind of thing. And then playing based off of that. Vermont is very, very good at killing things that are broadside. It does a lot of damage. And it's not only good against broadsides, but it is the ship I would trust the most against broadsides. Even more than something like a Slava. Slava needs... Well, for every 2 Citadels this thing gets, I think Slava needs close to 3 Citadels, right? And the ship gets more guns, that kind of thing. Slava's not a bad ship by any means against broadsides, but there's just something about the Vermont that really feels really nice to play these days. Generally, that's because these games are pretty slow paced, they're pretty campy, they're pretty snipey, so speed is not really required these days, I would say, out of a battleship, at least in random battles. The way these games play out a lot of the time is that people just get stuck behind islands, they're camping, they don't flank, they don't push very hard, so it's unlikely that you're going to get overrun, right? Something we talked about originally with Vermont when it came out was the ship is slow, so it could get overrun by an enemy team pushing, but people don't push these days, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. And taking range mod like I have on this ship and getting used to ranges like this means that you can take pot shots at people across a long distance. Of course, these shells are better than Ohio and Georgia shells, which have a lot of shell drag, and that's why they feel a little slow. Vermont shells, well, they're not the speediest out of the guns. They retain their shell velocity over long distances very well, so you can actually snipe reasonably well with this ship. Not as good as something like a Slava, but you get overmatched that Slava doesn't, right? That's one of the really nice things. So playing at these ranges, getting used to shooting at longer ranges in something like a Vermont and being accurate with them is definitely a skill that takes a while to learn. But once you do learn, yeah, you can hit people really hard across the map, and the lack of speed doesn't really hamper you all that much, because I can basically I could shoot anybody I wanted to right now. If I pop my spotter plane, I could shoot that Georgia all the way across the map if I wanted to, right? So that's where, for a good player, someone who knows how to aim very well, the speed on Vermont isn't that big of a downside, because you do get that massive range. It's just difficult to aim at those ranges. And of course, I'm not perfect at it. I'm not saying I am, but knowing what people are going to do, learning about what a typical player will do in different situations, right? Like, so if a Yoshino pops up broadside, what's he likely to do? He's likely to just slow down and turn out, or just turn out, right? There, he happened to just go in a straight line and we still got him. But oftentimes, when you see a cruiser broadside to you and he sees you shoot, he's probably going to turn out or slow down and turn out. So then you have a choice. Do you shoot at him if he's going to go as if he's going to continue in a straight line? Or do you predict that he knows to slow down and turn out and shoot there? Those kind of mind games are definitely required at these longer ranges, but they're definitely doable, and you're going to miss a lot. But as you shoot the same target over and over again, you'll start to learn the pattern of what that player does. Do they not really notice you and continue doing whatever maneuvering they were doing, or do they take note of your shot and do they maneuver? Then you get into the mind games of, well, what is he going to maneuver when he sees me shoot? And then I'm going to shoot where I think he's going to go. It's a fun little mind game to try out and get better at, for sure. Not the easiest thing in the world to do, but that can lead to some very rewarding shots where somebody just slows down right in front of your ship, and you predict their slowdown and slap them for all their health. And then they're left sitting there surprised, like, wait, I dodged. How did he hit me? It results in some pretty awesome scenarios like that. So we're up to 112,000 damage, 9 Citadels already out of a ship that does over 15,000 damage from each Citadel. This is a great game. Not every game is like this by me. Not at all. Right? So it's not like I'm getting this every match, right? Vermont, oftentimes, I'm too slow to get into the game, or I'm shooting at these longer ranges, and I'm just missing or not predicting people particularly well, or people just aren't giving me broadside. It's going to be a theme for these two videos, Vermont and Slava tomorrow, is that people just gave me broadside, and I thought that was very nice of them. I enjoyed that a lot. So if you guys ever see me in the game, say hi, and then if you want to, if you'd be so kind, you could just give me broadside. That would be nice. I would enjoy that, just like I enjoyed these games. See, this Alaska, for example, I thought he was just going to slow down. But he decides to speed up and turn out as a dodge. And you can see, if he would have stopped where he was, I would have hit him. But he saw me, maybe he saw me shoot, maybe he didn't. But I'm assuming that he saw me shoot, or priority target went off, or incoming fire alert went off, and he decided to change his direction and speed. And that's smart, that's what good players do. But eventually you start to predict those things and see what people do. That's the mark of somebody who's pretty good at battleships, is if they're predicting what a cruiser's going to do, and not aiming solely based on where their current trajectory will take them, right? And that's one of the reasons, actually, aimbots wouldn't be that useful in this game, right? Because the shell flight time between when you shoot and when your shells land is generally too long, right? You have to be doing some predicting if you really want to be good at this game. Broadsides are fun in this ship. They really are. And there you go. 11 Citadels, 250,000 damage, 4 kills. I was really hoping I could get a crack in here with the Edinburgh, but unfortunately, we only get one salvo left, and he's bow in. So we have to get pretty lucky in order to get any kill out of this one yet and get that final Kraken. So we'll see if that ends up happening. But I really am enjoying Vermont these days. As much as I don't like the slow speed, I'm trying to push more with this ship. I'm trying to play more aggressive with this ship, get up a little closer, and it's seeming to result in better games than when I was playing pretty passive and not really taking the fight to the enemy. That kind of thing. So, pretty good game. I really enjoyed this one. This is a nice little confidence boost going into Kings of the Sea games. 261k. Dev Strike Confederate High Caliber. And a nice 11 Citadel hits. So, for the Captain build, this is what I've got right now. This will change once Deadeye is removed in the next update, but I am running Gunfeeder. Sometimes you need to shotgun a destroyer up close, and if you want to kill him full health to nothing, unless it's a French DD, you have to use HE to do that, so we take Gunfeeder to switch to that every once in a while. Not very often, though. Grease the gears, gets these big guns turning quicker, always very handy. Adrenaline Rush, self-explanatory, fire prevention, concealment, and Deadeye. Makes a lot of sense. Once Deadeye's gone, it's probably going to go in Emergency Repair Expert. And then, of course, for 21-point Commander, I'll have that. So that is what we're looking at right now. And I think that's probably the build for most battleships these days, honestly. It's pretty boring when you're trying to build out a battleship these days, but that's how it goes, right? When Wargaming tries to diversify the builds with a Captain update, right? Concealment system, aiming system, damage control. I'm running range, but if you don't feel like you're really shooting at these, 28 kilometer range, definitely run main battery mod 2 or maybe AA guns to get your AA up and running, the priority sector or whatever, a little quicker. Damage control system and main armaments as well. I'm running main armaments for Kings of the Sea, but normally I run auxiliary armaments because there's no aircraft carriers, so I don't have to worry about the auxiliary armaments being knocked out in Kings of the Sea. Whereas in random battles, I don't find my guns ever die or get knocked out. So taking this to keep my AA alive in some random battles games later into the game definitely can be helpful. So that's the build that I'm running right now. That's Vermont. I like the ship a lot. Unfortunately, the grind to it's not so great, but the ship at the end is pretty solid. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great day.